Planning and Zoning Board, Johanna Womack, is also in attendance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roberts. There's a reversionary clause that applies to each rezoning, and that is the applicant, the agent, or the property owner has 24 months to vest the zoning change after the Board of Commissioners have granted an approval. For tonight's proceedings, I will conduct the public hearing. Mr. Roberts will announce each application, followed by Planning and Zoning staff, who will present the application in full. Then the applicant or the applicant's representative will have 15 minutes to present their request. Members of the public in favor of the application will be able to present their information. They will have 3 minutes per person for a total of 30 minutes to speak on behalf of an application. Members of the public in opposition to the application will be able to present their information also. They will have 3 minutes per person for a total of 30 minutes to speak in opposition to the application. After the opposition completes their input or the 30 minutes has elapsed, the public hearing will be officially closed. At this point, the staff will clarify any points of the zoning case. If the staff is unable to satisfy the board's questions, the board will then ask the applicant for points of clarification. This is not a time for the applicant to represent their case. The Planning and Zoning Board will then entertain a motion. Our first agenda tonight will be the approval of the minutes of the meeting of October the 5th, 2021, the Joint Planning and Zoning and Board of Commissioners meeting. After reviewing the minutes, does any Planning and Zoning member have any comments, changes, or questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion from Planning and Zoning Board to approve the minutes of the October 5th, 2021 meeting?
This is Frank Payne. I make a motion to approve minutes for the October 5th, 2021 meeting.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. Do we have any discussion? All righty, if you would vote in favor of the motion or against the motion as I call your name, please. Rob Thomas. Mr. Thomas.
Approve.
Ms. Knowles.
Oh, yay.
Mr. Penniman. Mr. Penniman. Mr. Curry, have you joined the meeting? Mr. Payne.
Yay.
Mr. Nicholson.
Yay.
Mr. Penniman. I see Brandon's phone still on, but
Recording in progress.
okay, no response from Mr. Penniman at this point in time. That's 4 yeas. And I will abstain from voting on this since I was not in the attendance of the October the 5th meeting, but the motion carries. Madam Chairman, throw it over to the Board of Commissioners with a approval of the minutes of October the 5th, 2021.
Thank you. Board of Commissioners, you've had an opportunity to review the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the October 5th, 2021 minutes?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. When I call your district, please respond accordingly. District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
Chairman, yes. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. I yield back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. At this point in time, I'm going to clarify and make some adjustments to the agenda we have tonight. Last month, we tabled Z 2021-63 and S 2021-64, a request for rezoning from RA to AG and a special use permit to allow horse boarding, RV camping, and special events at a home located on 1690 North Stockmire Road in Villa Rica. At this point in time, I would ask the Planning and Zoning Board for a motion to untable Z 2021-63, S 2021-64. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, this is Teresa Knowles. I make a motion to untable Z 2021-63 and S 2021-64.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
This is Brandon Penniman. I second that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Penniman. I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion, Planning and Zoning Board? Hearing no discussion, I will call for a vote. All in favor of untabling Z 2021-63 and S 2021-64, please answer in the affirmative as I call your name. Kirk Nicholson. Mr. Nicholson.
Yay.
Mr. Payne.
Yay.
Mr. Curry. Still not here. Mr. Penniman. Mr. Penniman. Ms. Knowles.
Yay.
Mr. Thomas.
Yay.
Mr. Penniman. He seconded the motion. I know he's here. Okay, we'll move on to the next item. At this point in time, we have had a request from LIT Acquisitions LLC to table Z 2021-68 to be tabled until November the 30th meeting at 6 p.m. Planning and Zoning Board, do I have a motion to table Z 2021-68?
Mr. Chairman, it's Kurt Nicholson. I make a motion that we table Z 2021-68 until the next meeting.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
This is Teresa Knowles. I second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion, Planning and Zoning Board? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of tabling Z 2021-68, please answer in the affirmative. Rob Thomas.
Yay.
Teresa Knowles. Ms. Knowles.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, did we table that to a specific date of November 30th, 2021?
November 30th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Yes.
Yes. You
Okay,
did.
yes, yay.
Mr. Penniman.
Approved. I don't know quite what's wrong with my phone. It keeps going in and out, but approved.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Penniman. We'll work with you on that. Mr. Curry. Mr. Payne.
Yay.
Mr. Nicholson.
Yay.
All right, thank you very much. Madam Chairman, I will turn over to the board two items that we have here to clean up the agenda. One is to untable Z 2021-63 and S 2021-64, and to table Z 2021-68. Both received unanimous approval from Planning and Zoning Board.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, we have two items that we will work concurrently that requires to be untabled. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to untable Z 2021-63 and S 2021-64? Is there a motion to
Yes,
untable?
ma'am. I make a motion to untable the two that you just read into the record.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. And when I call your district, please respond accordingly. District 1,
Yay.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
Chairman, yes, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. Board of Commissioners, we have one item to table tonight. It's up for tabling. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to table Z 2021-68?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. When I call you district, please respond accordingly. District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
Chairman, yes, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carried. I yield back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman and Board of Commissioners. Mr. Roberts, would you please introduce our first agenda item tonight then?
Yes, sir, I will. It's S 2021-56, Lenora McCown. The location is 4700 Bedford Place, Douglasville, 30135, land lot 48, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 80. Current zoning is RLD. The request from this applicant is for a special use permit on 0.45 acres, Commission District Number 3, and the proposed use for the special use permit is in-home counseling services. Staff recommendation for this is approval with conditions, Chairman.
Thank you very much. I believe Ms. Duncan has this case. Ms. Duncan, would you present this for us?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject property is zoned residential low density. It is located in a neighborhood adjacent to the city limits of the city of Douglasville. The image that you're looking at here is an aerial image that shows the location of the property, and you can see how close it is to the city limits of Douglasville. This is a view of the property from the exterior of the road. One thing we would note about this property, you would have read in the staff report that there is currently one special use permit already issued to the property, one business license already issued to the property for in-home hair salon. So just wanted to clarify, there is no limitation on having more than one in-home business or business license under our code, in case there are any questions about that. Staff did analyze the criteria in the code, and we found that the request to be substantially compatible with the special use permit criteria. Therefore, the planning department is recommending approval of this request with the following conditions. Number 1, there shall be no on-street parking associated with the special use of this parcel. And number 2, the applicant must satisfy all environmental health requirements of the Douglas County Public Health Department prior to the issuance of a business license. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Ms. Duncan, will the applicant or the applicant's representative please unmute yourself, state your name and address for the record, and present any information you would like the Planning and Zoning Board and Board of Commissioners to hear. You will have a total of 15 minutes to make your presentation. Go ahead.
Ms. McCown, I believe you are muted. No, we still can't hear you. Is your microphone turned on? You had yourself off mute, but we're not getting any sound through your microphone.
It appears the microphone's off according to my screen.
Is there a call-in number? We can send her the call-in number.
We do have a call-in number. If we would like to defer this to later in the meeting, we could, or I would be happy to, if you wanted to wait a moment, we could work with the applicant to see about getting her access through the call-in number.
Okay. You said it'll just be a moment, Allison. Okay, we'll give you a few minutes, and then after that, I will ask that our chairman of the Planning and P&Z committee just move on, and then we'll come back. We'll see. We'll give you a few seconds. Thank you.
She's calling her. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay, I have Miss McCown on the line.
I do live at
Miss
4700 Bedford Place.
Miss McCune, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Could you mute your computer, please? The speakers on your computer.
That's better.
Is that better? Oh, no, wait. Oh, goodness.
If you could drop off the computer and just use this phone line, I think that will work.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, is the computer echoing?
I believe that sounds better. Is that better, Mr. Chair?
Yes, that's better. We can hear. It's faint, but we can hear if she'd speak up.
Okay, certainly. My name is Lenora McEwen, and I live at 4700 Bedford Place in Douglasville. I have applied for a business license. I am a licensed psychotherapy counselor. I have a state of Georgia license, and I wanted to make sure that the council knows I have an entrance and an exit that doesn't go through the house or anything like that in the private residential area. I do have, it is handicap accessible, and I do have a restroom available to the patients also that would come by. There would only be one patient at a time. There, you can see from the picture that you all had of my house, we have a couple of automobiles in the driveway, but there's plenty of room for someone to pull in behind and make sure that there's never any parking on the street. I would like very much to continue this. I think there is a need for people to be able to come by that can't come by during regular business hours. And if I would offer this, you know, sometimes in the evening, it would be helpful to people who might be needing some help.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. McCowan. I need one question for you. You heard the two conditions that were read into the record. Are you in agreement with those conditions?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, thank you very much. If you would just stand by at this point in time, I will open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, please unmute your system, state your name and address for the record, then make any comments you would like. You would have 3 minutes per person. Hearing none and seeing none, I will move on to anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application. Please unmute your system, state your name and address for the record, then make any comments you would like. You would also have 3 minutes per person for a total of 30 minutes allocated. Hearing and seeing no one wishing to speak in opposition, I will close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of Ms. McCowan?
Yes, I do, Chairman. It's Rob Thomas.
Go ahead, Mr. Thomas.
Yes, Ms. McCowan, can you give me a little bit background as far as what your psychotherapy business model is?
I do trauma therapy, depression, and anxiety. I do not deal with people who have had severe schizophrenia or anything like that. Those folks are in hospitals and they will stay there with the specialized help that they would need. But my specialization is trauma and depression and anxiety, stress. The COVID has really made everyone need some help, but also I do counsel people who are taking care of sick elders, their parents or whatnot. The caregiver needs therapy sometimes as much as the patient that might be sick with a terminal illness or with Alzheimer's. So I counsel those two to help them.
Okay, so are you currently doing it online only?
No, I'm not doing it only online. I do online and I do in person as well.
So the in-person, is that a different space somewhere else, or is that at your location, at your home location?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Sure. You said you do it both online and in person. Where do you do it in person now, currently?
Oh, at Douglasville Psychotherapy on Bakers Bridge Road.
Okay, well, thank you. I just had a few questions. That was it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from planning and zoning?
This is Frank Payne. Just wanted to ask just one question. I understand you have another business also in your house. Would there be any confusion with having two businesses there?
No, sir. The hours that people would come to see me will not interfere with the other. They are completely after the other is finished for the day.
Okay, and what is the other business that you have?
My husband has a hair salon.
Okay, all right, so that would be for your husband.
Haircut and hot towel shave. This is the place.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Ms. McCowan, Planning and Zoning Board? Hearing none, Madam Chairman, I'll yield the floor to the Board of Commissioners for any questions they have of staff or Ms. McCowan.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, do we have any questions for Mrs. McCowan or either of the staff at this time? Okay. I have one question for you, Ms. McCowan. I wanted to ask about the trauma therapy component that you're providing. Are they, is it accident related trauma therapy, or is it more aligned with physical therapy? And that's just a question for me, just so I can just, can you?
It's not aligned with physical therapy. The trauma therapy is usually, I use it when my patients suffer from PTSD, which you can suffer PTSD and postpartum depression and those kinds of things. Usually we think of PTSD being for a veteran, which I have a couple of veterans that I talk to, but it is strictly just if they do have a traumatic accident, or maybe the trauma would be a death in their family that they couldn't deal with, or things like that.
Okay, no, you answered my question because you said it was the PTSD. And when I heard trauma, I was thinking more accident related, but this makes sense. And then the postpartum component, but also you probably had some, and I don't want to script you, probably had some intervention with those patients maybe that have been in an accident that has maybe no longer, they're now paralyzed and they're depressed. So I know you probably have had some, have you? I don't want to script you. Have you? Do you work with those patients?
I have, and yes, that would be a piece of it as well.
Okay.
I don't currently have any at this present time like that have been in a traumatic accident and been paralyzed or anything like that. Not at this time, but I could speak with them and try and help them too.
Yes, ma'am. All right, well, thank you. You answered my question. Board of Commissioners, you're welcome. Board of Commissioners, if you don't have any remarks, I'll yield back to Chairman Simmons. Chairman Simmons, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, you have heard the discussion. Do I have a motion?
This is Frank Payne. I make a motion to approve application S 2021-56, a special use permit for a psychotherapy office as an in-home business with the following conditions that were outlined by the staff.
I have a motion for S 2021-56. Do I have a second?
I second.
I second the motion.
Thank you. I have a motion. I have a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call your name. Please vote in the affirmative to agree with the motion, or in the negative to not. Mr. Thomas.
Yay.
Ms. Knowles.
Yay.
Mr. Penniman. Mr. Penniman, when you get your phone undone, go ahead. Is Mr. Curry here? Mr. Curry here?
Yay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Curry. Mr. Payne?
Yay.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yay.
And Mr. Penniman, did you come back in? Technical problems there. Okay, we still have a motion that carried. Madam Chairman, I will throw it over to the Board of Commissioners for S 2021-56 with a motion to approve the special use permit for psychotherapy office and in-home business at 4700 Bedford Place, Douglasville, 30135. Madam Chair.
All right, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve S 2021-56 with the staff recommendations so listed.
A motion, do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. When I call your district, please respond accordingly. District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
Chairman, yes. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carried. I yield back to you, Chairman Simmons, and congratulations, Ms. McCowan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all so very, very much.
You're welcome. Best of luck going forward, Mr. McCowan. Mr. Roberts, would you introduce the next agenda item, please?
Absolutely. It's Z 2021-63, S 2021-64. The applicant Cheyenne Muhammad at the location is 1690 North Stockmar Road, Villa Rica, 30180, land lot 212, District 2, Section 5, Parcel 6. Current zoning is RA. The request is rezone to agricultural, AG, and also a special use permit for the horse boarding and special events from the home and campground facilities on 24 acres in District 4. Proposed use is working farm with accessory supporting uses and structures, special use permit for horse boarding, special events from the home and campground facilities. Staff recommendation is for approval for the rezoning from RA to AG and for the special use permit for horse boarding, special events from the home and campground facilities, approval with conditions. And this is also Allison Duncan's case.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roberts. Ms. Duncan, would you please provide the staff findings and recommendations for us?
Yes, sir. I will be brief as we actually heard this application at our last meeting. We had the public hearing on this application. At that time, you had asked us to table the application and continue to work with the applicant to make sure that that she was clear on all of the conditions. So I will just briefly say, here is the zoning on the property. Here is an aerial view of the property and the view of the property from the road. We made several visits out to the property, planning and zoning staff, fire department, building department, and then environmental health. So we had several meetings, several visits to the property. Our staff recommendations are generally the same, but I will go through those and read them into the record. So we have reviewed the zoning criteria and find that it substantially supports the rezoning request. And we have reviewed the special use permit criteria, and we have found that it substantially supports the request. Therefore, planning staff is recommending approval of the request to rezone the property from residential agricultural to rural agricultural with the following findings. Number one, the rezoning is consistent with the Douglas County Comprehensive Plan and the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Douglas County Unified Development Code. Number two, a negative impact to surrounding properties will not result from the rezoning. And number three, the granting of the rezoning will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare and represents best planning practices. Staff also recommends approval for the special use permit for horse boarding, recreational and vacation camps, and temporary events from the home with the following conditions. And as I read these, please note that the text on your screen in yellow are the things that changed from our previous staff recommendations. So number one, temporary events of any type shall be limited to 4 events per month. Number two, temporary events shall be conducted between the hours of 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. All event activities, including music, must cease by 9 p.m. Event breakdown and cleanup may extend 1 hour before and 1 hour after the scheduled beginning and ending time. Number three, a maximum of 150 people will be allowed for any temporary event on the property. This includes guests and staff for the event. Number four, temporary events are required to be held out of doors on the grounds until such a time as any existing or new structures meet the requirements of all applicable codes and regulations and receive a certificate of occupancy from the Douglas County Building Department for the appropriate use to accommodate public gathering spaces. Number five, the access driveway to any temporary event space shall have an appropriate improved surface that is a minimum of 20 feet wide. Tree canopy above the driveway shall be clear to a height of 13 and a half feet to facilitate ingress and egress by emergency personnel. Number six, parking areas for temporary events shall be improved to the specifications of the engineering department so as to accommodate parking for 75 vehicles and will include required ADA parking spaces. Number seven, restroom facilities suitable to accommodate the temporary event must be constructed and approved by appropriate departments, including but not limited to the building department and environmental health department, prior to the issuance of an occupational tax certificate for the special use permit to allow temporary events from the home. Number eight, the applicant will be required to meet all other environmental health requirements, including well water testing and food service licensing, prior to the issuance of an occupational tax certificate for the special use permit to allow temporary events from the home. Number nine, the applicant may commence using the following identified camping spaces once they have demonstrated compliance with all applicable codes and regulations, including but not limited to the rules of the Department of Public Health, Chapter 511-6-2, tourist accommodations, and the requirements of the Douglas County Unified Development Code, Article 3, Section 318.5, in regard to recreational vehicle camps. This includes one recreational vehicle parking space for a 20-foot Class B RV, pickup truck camper, camping van, or pop-up camper indicated as Site A on the concept plan in the application, and then 4 40 by 50-foot tent camping sites indicated as sites F through I on the concept plan in the application. Number 10, the applicant may not commence using any of the 4 glamping houses for any type of temporary or permanent occupancy, including use during special events, until such a time as each unit has been brought into compliance with all applicable codes and regulations, and a certificate of occupancy for each unit has been issued by the Douglas County Building Department. Number 11, the special use permit to allow temporary special events from the home and the special use permit to allow for recreational and vacation camps are granted to the applicant for the duration of time that they occupy the property. At such a time as the current owner ceases to occupy the property or transfers title to the property, the special use permit will expire if not renewed by the Board of Commissioners for the new owner or occupant. And number 12, the special use permit to allow for commercial horse boarding facilities is granted with no limit as to its expiration during the occupancy by the current owner of the property. At such a time as the current owner ceases to occupy the property or transfers its title of the property, the special use permit will expire if not renewed by the Board of Commissioners for the new owner or occupant. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Ms. Duncan. Is the applicant online?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, Ms. Muhammad, did you heard the 12 conditions that were read into the record by Ms. Duncan? Are you in agreement with those conditions?
Yes, I am in agreement.
Okay, thank you very much. I know we've had the public hearing on this matter. So Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any additional questions for Ms. Muhammad? Hearing none at this point in time, Madam Chairman, I'll throw it and yield the floor to the Board of Commissioners for any questions they may have. Madam Chairman, I believe you were muted.
There I am. So sorry, I was muted. All of us are having muting problems tonight. Hey, Board of Commissioners, do you have any questions? Board of Commissioners?
Ma'am, I'm sorry, I couldn't get unmuted.
Okay.
Ms. Mohammed, I met out with you also. You have a beautiful place out there. And there's a lot of conditions here. And are you willing to accept all the conditions as staff read into the record?
Yes, ma'am. So that definitely is a lot of conditions, but we have had an opportunity to really talk through them. And we appreciate you and everyone else who's come out here to help us to understand what needed to be done. The only one that we are not in agreement with is just the food service one, because as we spoke with Susan at Environmental Health, we said that we would just take all of the stuff out of the kitchen that could be cooked with and not use the kitchen. So otherwise we are in agreement.
So you're gonna cater the food in, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
You will not be cooking in the kitchen there. Allison, do we need to adjust anything?
If they actually won't be cooking in the kitchen, then the food service licensing for that venue will not be relevant. So I would say we can remove it or not. It was recommended to us by the Environmental Health Department. And so I would not be the one qualified to say what all it would encompass. My preference would be to leave it in because if, as Ms. Muhammad said, that they're not using the kitchen, it would not apply specifically to their facility. There may still be circumstances in which people coming onto the property, such as a mobile food vendor, they may have some requirement that they would have to meet from environmental health. But at the end of the day, we will certainly abide by whatever is the will of the Board of Commissioners.
So we don't really have to make any adjustment as long as she is not using the kitchen.
In my opinion, if she is not using the kitchen, then that requirement would basically be satisfied.
Yes, a moot issue. Okay. Yes. Do you understand, Ms. Muhammad?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Guider. Any other questions, Board? Okay. With that being said, I'll yield back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman and Commissioners. Planning and Zoning Board, you have heard the discussion. You heard the discussion in the public hearing last month. Do I have a motion on Z 2021-63? Because we have to approve the zoning, or the zoning has to be approved prior to the taking up the special use permit.
Mr.
Chairman Briggs, I'll take.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hey, Chairman Briggs, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like the motion to approve application Z 2021-63, a request for rezoning from residential agricultural to rural agricultural with the conditions that were read in by staff and agreed to by the applicants.
This is Frank Payne, I second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. The conditions would apply to the special use permit, I believe, not exactly on the rezoning, but that's fine. Any discussion, planning and zoning board? Hearing no discussion, please, as I call your name, vote for the affirmative to approve the rezoning. Negative if you do not wish to approve it. Mr. Thomas,
Affirmative.
Ms. Knowles,
Yay.
Mr. Penniman.
Approve.
All right, Mr. Curry,
Yay.
and Mr. Payne,
Yay.
Mr. Nicholson.
Yay.
Thank you very much. Madam Chairman, I will throw the request for rezoning from RA Residential Agricultural to AG Agricultural for the address of 1690 North Stockmeyer Road in Villa Rica with a unanimous motion to approve.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion to approve?
Yes, ma'am. I make a motion to approve application Z 2021-63 as presented by the Planning and Zoning with the findings read in by staff.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Battle. Do we have a second, board?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. We have motion and a second. Any discussion from the board? We have a motion and a second. When I call you, district, please respond accordingly. District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
Chairman, yes, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. Thank you so much, Board of Commissioners, and I'll yield back to you, Chairman Simmons. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, do I now have a, since the zoning was approved, do I now have a motion on the special use permit S 2021-64?
This is Frank Payne. I make a motion to approve application S 2021-64, a request for special use permit for horse boarding, recreation and vacation camps, and temporary events from the home, with the following conditions that were outlined by staff.
Thank you very much. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Thank you very much. I have a motion and a second. Planning and Zoning Board, is there any discussion? Hearing none, if you would vote in favor by saying yay or against by saying nay, S 2021-64 special use permit to be approved. Mr. Nicholson.
Yay.
Mr. Payne.
Yay.
Mr. Curry.
Yay.
Mr. Penniman.
Yay.
Ms. Knowles.
Yay.
Mr. Thomas.
Yay.
Thank you very much. Madam Chairman, I will throw it over to the Board of Commissioners for the special use permit S 2021-64 with a unanimous approval.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, again, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion to approve?
Yes, ma'am. I make a motion to approve application S 2021-64 as approved by the Planning and Zoning Board with all the conditions read in by staff.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. When I call you district, please respond accordingly. District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
Chairman, yes. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. I yield back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman and Commissioners. Ms. Hamid, we wish you the best going forward with this opportunity. Mr. Roberts, would you introduce the next agenda item, please?
Yes, sir. S 2021-65, John L. Scott. Location 7917 Hannah Road, Winston 30187, within land lot 158, District 3, Parcel 5, Parcel 10. Current zoning is PUD, Planned Unit Development Commercial. The request is for a special use permit on 5.3 acres in District 4. The proposed use is for an accessory dwelling unit, and staff's recommendation is approval with conditions, Chairman.
Thank you very much. I believe this
Bill
is
Schaefer.
Mr. Schaefer. If you would present the findings for us, please.
Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, sir.
So this is a request to provide an additional alternative dwelling unit, a guest house for a family member to live in. The proposal was for a 600 square foot accessory home located on 7917 Hannah Road. Property already has a single family residence and garage addition and yard and pool area. The bulk of the property is wooded. The proposal would allow for a guest house on the property in the side yard. It would have its own septic system set up. The property is residential agricultural, and there are a number of residences around it, developed property around it. This is the site plan that we received showing the guest house on the side of the property here with its own septic system. The property, this is what mock-up of the guest house would look like, showing a very attractive but very small house for the family member to live in. The property, as you could see in the surrounding areas, developed with single-family homes and a number of accessory structures. The proposal we reviewed against the criteria, and it is supported by all of the criteria for the special use permit, and staff is recommending approval with the findings that the use will not modify the land use plan or the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Douglas County Unified Development Code. B, that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive future land use plan. Categorization of this property as within the rural places area, which incorporates mixed residential uses, and that the use will not negatively impact surrounding properties, and that the granting of the special use permit will not adversely affect public health, safety, or welfare. There are two conditions. Obviously, he's meeting the first, which is the approval shall be for an accessory dwelling unit whose maximum size shall be limited to 60% of the square footage of the principal residence and shall be finished in exterior cladding substantially the same as the principal residence. Number two, any other use of the property that's not identified within section 210, uses allowed in each zone district, specifically table 2.2 or 2.3 of the Douglas County Unified Development Code, may require the submission, review, and approval of a new special use permit. And I believe Mr. Scott's on the program this evening. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Schaefer. Mr. Scott, if you or your representative would unmute your system, state your name and address for the record, present any additional information you would like Planning and Zoning Board and Board of Commissioners to hear. You would have 15 minutes to make that presentation. Go ahead.
Thank you, everybody, for your time. My name is John Scott. I reside at 7917 Hannah Road in Winston, Georgia. I want to thank everybody for their time. This little home that I'm building is for my mother, who I'm moving down from South Carolina, that needs to be around family closer. She's getting to the age that she needs a little bit of help, but she can still get around. I have had AES Atlanta come out and do perk analysis or soil analysis on the property to make sure that the separate septic system would work. I have retained Jeff Camp as a builder to make sure all county codes are met in building this property. Some of the conditions, number two, I'm not really familiar with the section 210 and what all that means, but I'm attempting to do this the correct way, and this was my first step. And I want to thank everybody for their time. I have spoken also to Justin at Greystone Power. They have their plan for underground utility, and it's going to have a separate meter on the building. They're ready to go with that without any issues. I've also spoken with the water department, and the meter that we currently have will suffice for feeding water to that dwelling without having another meter put in. The amount of clearing that we're going to do is pretty minimal, but I have also talked to Jeff and one other gentleman that's going to do the clearing, and they're going to, have silt fences and everything up. We've also talked to the neighbor on that side where the house is going to be, and they're in agreement. They have no problems with it. The neighbors across the street we attempted to talk to, they're elderly, and we went over a couple of times and couldn't get them. So I haven't been able to talk to them yet. But again, I want to thank everybody for their time and considering this permit.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Scott. If you would just stand by in case the board or the commissioners have any questions of you. At this point in time, I'm going to open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, you can unmute your system, state your name and address for the record, then make any comments you would like. You have 3 minutes per person for a total allocated time of 30 minutes. Hearing no one or seeing anyone trying to unmute their system, I will open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application, please unmute your system, state your name and address for the record, then make any comments you would like. You would have 3 minutes per person for a total time allocated of 30 minutes. Again, seeing or hearing no one wishing to speak in opposition, I will close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions for staff or Mr. Scott?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for Mr. Scott, please.
Go ahead.
Mr. Scott, I'm just looking at the layout of your property, and I may have missed this comment already made. Will you be placing the home on the back side of your property that is vacant, or will it be beside your house?
It's going to be about 25 feet from the house, positioned facing toward the pool. So the back of the house will face the neighbors on that side. So yeah, it's going to, I think right now, the way we have it laid out, the easiest place is going to be about 25 to 30 feet from our residence. And it's going to double as a bathhouse, because we have a current bathhouse there that we're going to get rid of.
Gotcha. Will your mom be using your driveway?
Yes, ma'am, but she doesn't drive, so she doesn't own a vehicle.
Okay, so that won't be a problem. Okay, thank you, Mr. Scott.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions from Planning and Zoning Board for staff or Mr. Scott? Hearing none, Planning and Zoning Board will yield the floor to the Board of Commissioners. Madam Chairman.
Board of Commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. Scott? Okay, being none, I yield back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much. Planning and Zoning Board, you have heard the presentation and you have heard the questions and answers. Do I have a motion on S 2021-65?
Mr. Chairman, this is Teresa Knowles. I make a motion to approve S 2021-65 for 600 square foot accessory home located at 7917 Hannah Road, Winston.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. Do I have any discussion, Planning and Zoning Board? Hearing no discussion, do I have we'll call for a vote on the motion. As I call your name, indicate yay for the affirmative to approve and nay for the negative not to approve. Mr. Thomas?
Yay.
Ms. Knowles?
Yay.
Mr. Penniman?
Yay.
Mr. Curry?
Yay.
Thank you. Mr. Payne?
Yay.
Thank you. Mr. Nicholson? Mr. Nicholson, I believe he was having technical difficulty earlier, so he may not be here at this point in time. Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yay.
Yay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nicholson. All right, Madam Chairman, I will throw it to the Board of Commissioners with a unanimous approval on S 2021-65, request for special use permit to allow 600 square foot accessory home located at 7917 Hannah Road, Winston, Georgia.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Yes, ma'am. I make a motion to approve application S 2021-65 as approved by Planning and Zoning with the conditions as presented by staff.
Okay, do we have a second for it?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. When I call your district, please respond accordingly. District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
Chairman, yes, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. Thank you so much. And I yield back to you, Chairman Simmons, and congratulations, Mr. Scott.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
very
much.
much for your
And
time.
Mr. Scott, we wish you the best for you and your mom going forward on this matter.
Thank you.
Mr. Roberts, please introduce the next agenda item, please.
Yes, sir. S 2021-66, Ryan and Heather Clower are the applicants. Their location is West Carroll Road, Whitesburg, 30185, land lot 183, District 3, Section 5, Parcel 25. Current zoning is residential agriculture. The request is for a special use permit on 5.79 acres in District Number 4. It is a proposed use there is another accessory dwelling unit. The recommendation from staff is approval with conditions. This is also Phil Schaefer's case.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schaefer. Would you present the staff findings and recommendations for us?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the request in this case, which is not very far from the one we just saw, again, it's in the southwest corner of the county. The applicant is requesting an accessory dwelling to be built concurrently with a principal residence. There is nothing on the property right now. There are some issues with the property in that it is a rather lengthy flag lot and there is a water body on the property. So the property is going to have some setback issues that have to be worked out. Property will not be served by public water due to limited availability, and public sewer will not be provided, so it'll be a septic system for the property. The water well will have to be evaluated by the health department so that it can be used once it's drilled. The two homes will be served by on-site sewage disposal system, and of course, a level 3 soils analysis will be required so that the health department can pass on that one and approve that site. Again, I say this is all residential agricultural. We're almost out of the county here on West Carroll Road, way at the southwest corner of the county. The property that you're looking at here on the right-hand picture, what we're showing outlined in red is a previous application that came through and we evaluated. There is a 60-foot setback to the rear of the property, and there is a 75-foot setback from the body of water that is out there right now. What we wanted to make sure is that when the house and the guest house are built, assuming you can approve tonight, that both of them will be within the envelope would be shown here so that we don't invade any of the setback requirements. As far as the overall area, it's the rural, partially developed. Some of the sites have homes on them. Many of them out there are still undeveloped. But this is one that has potential. It's a beautiful piece of property. Staff has reviewed this project and we have evaluated it as supported by all of these criteria. And we are recommending approval with findings that the use again will not modify the land use plan or the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Douglas County Unified Development Code. B, that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive future land use plan, a categorization of the property as within rural places, incorporating mixed residential uses, and that the use will not negatively impact surrounding properties, and the granting of the special use permit will not adversely affect public health, safety, or welfare. We did put a couple of conditions here, so there are 3. Condition number 1, the approval shall be for an accessory dwelling unit whose maximum size shall be limited to 60% of the square footage of the principal residence and shall be finished in exterior cladding the same as the principal residence. The structure shall be sited on the property in order to maintain the correct buffer setbacks from the lake edge as required under Article 9. And then this is just number 3, any other use of the property that's not identified within Section 210, which involves uses allowed in each zoning district, specifically Table 2.2, uses allowed by right, and 2.3, accessory uses allowed by right of the Douglas County Unified Development Code may require submission, review, and approval of a new special use permit. That's just to alert everyone that if they come through and ask us for something that in fact needs another special use permit, that is what would be required of them to come before you and gain permission of that before actually doing it. For this evening, we just have the request for the guest house and the house to be built concurrently. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schaefer. Mr. and Ms. Clower, if you're online or your representative, if you would unmute yourself, state your name and address for the record, present any information you would like for the Planning and Zoning Board and the Board of Commissioners to hear. You would have 15 minutes for your presentation.
Hi, everybody. My name's Ryan Clower. Address is 6931 Cedar Hill Court. Thank y'all for your time tonight. The accessory building that we're looking to put in is planning to be the residence for my mom and dad. We've lived together for about 10 years on the same property. So as we sold our previous house and are looking to build here, we're just trying to create a similar living situation that we had before. And I've hired a builder, Leslie Chu, and also we've hired HRC to help just make sure that we are in compliance with everything that we have to make sure that we're doing as we're going through the building process to be compliant with all the requirements that have been put out there for this. So that's pretty much it. Again, I appreciate y'all's time and consideration.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Clower. 2 things for you here. Where is Cedar Hill Court located? Is that in Douglasville or what?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm Riverdale, Georgia.
Riverdale, Georgia. Okay, thank you very much.
It's
Also,
a temporary.
Okay, you've heard the conditions that were placed on this special use permit. Are you in agreement with those conditions?
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay, thank you very much. If you would just stand by in case there are any additional questions. I'm going to open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, please unmute your system, state your name and address for the record, then make any comments you would like. You would have 3 minutes per person for a total of 30 minutes allocated. Here this application, anyone wishing to speak in opposition, please unmute your system, state your name and address for the record, then make any comments you would like. You would have 3 minutes per person for a total allocated of 30 minutes. Hearing none, seeing no activity. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of staff or of the applicant? Hearing none, Madam Chairman, I'll yield the floor to the Board of Commissioners for any questions they have of staff of the applicant.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicant or the staff? Being none, I yield back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, you have heard the presentations. Do I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, this is Teresa Knowles. I'll make a motion to approve S 2021-66, a request for a special use permit for an accessory dwelling unit to be built concurrently with the principal residence, with the findings and conditions and directives as presented by staff.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I have a second. Any discussion, Planning and Zoning Board? Hearing no discussion, please vote for the affirmative to approve this special use permit or nay for the not to approve this permit. Mr. Thomas.
Yay.
Ms. Knowles,
Yay.
Mr. Penniman,
Yay.
Mr. Curry,
Yay.
Mr. Payne,
Yay.
Mr. Nicholson.
Yay.
Thank you very much, Chair, Planning and Zoning Board. Madam Chairman, I will throw it over to the Board of Commissioners with a recommendation for approval of S 2021-66, special use permit to allow a 1,500 square foot accessory home on West Carroll Road in Whitesburg, Georgia.
Thank you, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion to approve?
Yes, ma'am. I make a motion to approve application S 2021-66 as approved by Planning and Zoning with the conditions and findings read into the record.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. When I call your district, please respond accordingly. District 1.
Yay.
District 2.
Yes.
District 3.
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
Chairman, yes. We have a 5 unanimous vote and the motion carries. And I yield back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman and Board of Commissioners. Mr. Clower, Ms. Clower, we wish you the best going forward with this building of your residence and a residence for your parents. Best of luck to you. Mr. Roberts, would you introduce the next agenda item, please?
Gladly. Last item tonight is a Z 2021-67, Hetty Lewis Dukes McAfee at 4938 Highway 5 within Land Lot 38, District 2, Section 5, Parcel 3. The request is to go from CG to RLD on 0.78 acres in the Commission District number 3. Proposed use here is to retain the existing single-family home as a residence in a residentially zoned district. The staff recommendation is for approval, and Phil Schaefer has the presentation.
Thank you very much. Mr. Schaefer, would you make your presentation of the staff findings and recommendations, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. So Ms. McAfee came to us some weeks back and asked how we could help her in the plight she seems to be in with the home. The property is on the east side of Highway 5 at the intersection of Dorset Shoals Road. It's been a single family home for many, many decades and has remained a single family home for many decades. However, in the last year, the family has had a loss, and so they would like to be able to sell the house, and they have a buyer, but the buyer went to get a mortgage at the bank, and the bank refused to loan against the house because it was commercially zoned. I'm not sure how the house became commercially zoned many, many years ago, but for whatever reason, that property, along with the property immediately to its north, has been general commercial for a number of years. In speaking with the applicant, it was my position that there was no particular reason why she could not come to you and simply ask to have the property downzoned to residential low density so that the bank would then see this as a residentially zoned property and feel confident that their loan against collateral of a single family home would be secure because it was in a single family zoning that would allow it to be rebuilt if something were to happen to the house. The property is at that, as I said, at the intersection of Dorset Shoals and Highway 5. It is going to be just above where the DOT is projecting our new, and we hope soon to be built roundabout to correct all of the rather dangerous intersection that's going on here. But as you can see, they're constrained by the cemetery across the street, the church and parking lot across the street. The property to the south of the applicant, however, is still vacant. And so part of what will happen here is the roundabout is projected to be a little south of the applicant's property and would not actually affect her property. However, there will be a median strip that will be put in to protect north-south traffic, and that would actually prevent traffic from making a turn into her property if it were commercial. So it does not make any sense to leave it as commercial. And there were the reasoning that the have a buyer on the hook right now to be able to purchase the land and live in the house as a residence with a mortgage. We felt this was probably the safest and best way to approach the property. Here you see the intersection in the house. Here again is looking south with along Georgia 5. Along here on the right is the cemetery, on the left is the house, and then the driveway that goes through to the house. Staff reviewed the request against the criteria and is recommending approval. We only have the findings on this one, that the rezoning will not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Douglas County Unified Development Code. The proposed zoning is consistent with the comprehensive future land use plan categorization of the property as within the neighborhood village center area, which does incorporate mixed density residential and limited commercial uses. And the residential uses permissible in the proposed zone district are generally compatible with surrounding properties, and the grant of the rezoning will not adversely affect public health, safety, or welfare. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schaefer. Is the applicant or the applicant's representative present, Ms. McAfee?
Yes, I'm present.
All right, would you please state your name and address for the record, and then present any information you would like for the Planning and Zoning Board and the Board of Commissioners to hear. You would have a total of 15 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Hetty Dukes McAfee, and I'm the executor of my mother, Mildred James Dukes estate at 4938 Highway 5. This property has been in my family for more than 60 years. And it's my understanding that in the 80s, the county went around to major intersections and changed the zoning for future use. After family use, I now have the opportunity to sell the property and currently have the property under contract. I've been advised by Allison Duncan that the potential buyers could occupy the house and property as it's now zoned commercial under non-conforming use. However, it's my understanding that lending institutions seem to frown on the word non-conforming and will not process any financing until the property is rezoned to residential. I've paid the associated fees and completed the appropriate paperwork, and at this time requesting that the property at 493 Highway 5 be rezoned from commercial back to original zoning of residential. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. McAfee. I only have one thing. You stated the address of the property on Highway 5 and not your address, please.
Yes, my address is 142 Red Barn Road, Wedowee, Alabama, 36278.
All right, thank you very much for that information. At this time, I will open the public hearing on this matter. Ms. McAfee, if you would just stand by. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, please unmute your system, state your name and address for the record, make any comments you would like. You would have 3 minutes per person for a total allocated of 30 minutes. Hearing none, anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application, please unmute your system, state your name and address for the record. Make any comments you would like. 3 minutes per person for a total of 30 minutes allocated. Hearing none, I will close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of staff or Ms. McAfee? Hearing none, Madam Chairman, I'll yield the floor to the Board of Commissioners for any questions they have to staff or Ms. McAfee.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, do you have any questions for the staff or Ms. McAfee? Okay, being none, I'll yield back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much. Planning and Zoning Board, you have heard the discussion on this matter, Z 2021-67. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, it's Rob Thomas. I'd like to make a motion to approve application Z 2021-67, a request for rezoning from general commercial to residential low density for residential use with the findings presented by the staff.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thomas. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second,
And who was that?
Frank Payne.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. Everybody sounds the same on here. I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion by the Planning and Zoning Board? Hearing none, I will call for a vote on the matter. All wishing to vote in favor of the rezoning request, please indicate with the affirmative or the negative if you wish to vote against the rezoning. Mr. Curry,
Yay.
Mr. Payne,
Yay.
Mr. Nicholson.
Yay.
All right, Mr. Penniman,
Yay.
Ms. Knowles,
Yay.
Mr. Thomas.
Yay.
Thank you very much, Planning and Zoning Board. Madam Chairman, I will throw it over to the Board of Commissioners, Z 2021-67, rezoning from general commercial to RLD, residential low density at 4938 Highway 5, Douglasville, Georgia. Approval unanimously by the board.
All right. Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve application Z 2021 with the following findings as read by staff.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. I just would like to make a correction. It's Z 2021. Commissioner Carthen, we forgot the -67.
-67. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. When I call you districts, please respond accordingly. District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
Chairman, yes, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. All right, thank you and congratulations, Ms. McAfee.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman, Board of Commissioners, Ms. McAfee. We wish you the best going forward with this. Now, Mr. Roberts, is there anything else in the under other business that needs to come before the board, or does that conclude the meeting?
No, sir, we do have one item. That's Allison Duncan has an update on S 2020-21. Ronnie Williams is a special use permit. And so she has a staff update and status report for us to listen to tonight.
Very good. Ms. Duncan, would you present that information for us, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Just as a reminder, this was an application that we had heard in 2020. This is the zoning for the subject parcel. And here is an aerial view of the subject parcel. It is on the corner of Bright Star Road and Central Church Road. Here is the view of the property from the right of way. When the special use permit was renewed on June 2nd in 2020, there were several conditions put in place, including the permit valid for a period of 2 years. The work vehicle used by the applicant needed to be parked behind the house. No additional work vehicles belonging to other employees were permitted to be stored or parked at the residence. Only one non-residential employee could be located on the premises. The floor area dedicated to the home business could not exceed 25% of the gross floor area of the dwelling unit. And then the 2020 corporate registration with the Secretary of State needed to be updated to reflect the address of the home, which is 6299 Central Church Road. They needed to use that as the address of the business and not the other home address that was listed previously. And then the applicant needed to have a septic tank review done prior to the issuance of the business license. As you know, per the directive to staff that you see in the staff reports and that you have seen on several slides here this evening, we make investigation at the 1-year mark to make sure that the conditions in place are being complied with. When we made that inspection, we had some concerns. We notified code enforcement, and code enforcement did proceed with making a site inspection, and they issued a letter of violation in regard to several provisions of the Douglas County Code of Ordinances, in addition to the conditions approved in in the application in 2020. So we are bringing this before you tonight to fulfill our responsibility to make a report back to you at the 1-year point. We will continue to work with the applicant and code enforcement to see if we can see a path forward for clearing up these violations. But it is our recommendation that if we cannot get these violations cleared up, we may bring this back to you at our January 4th, 2022 regular meeting for your consideration. So again, this is for notification only. There is no action required of the applicant or you this evening, but we were following through with the directive of staff that we place on our reports to bring you an update when we find that an application is not compliant with their conditions. And that concludes my report.
And Mr. Chairman, can I jump in?
Yes, sir.
I would ask the board and the P&Z not to comment in order to preserve substantive and procedural due process rights, as Allison has just read to you. She's just notifying you. The next steps will be initiated through the planning and zoning process through Ron and his team and Allison and Phil. And then if it comes back to you, I don't want you in a position where you've commented on the record ahead of it coming back, if you don't mind. And so I'm asking Mr. Chairman and the Board of Commissioners as well, not to comment, receive the report, it's entered on your minutes. And if there is further follow-up, we won't be violating substantive and procedural due process rights of the applicant or the public.
Thank you very much for that information. And we have received this, so we will take it as information. And if it comes back into planning and zoning, we will deal with it at that particular time. Madam Chairman, any comments from the Board of Commissioners on this?
Board of Commissioners, do you have any comments or remarks to make at this time? Okay, there are no comments, Chairman Simmons, so I yield back to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. At this point in time, that concludes all of the matters before Planning and Zoning Board tonight. So I will adjourn Planning and Zoning Board meeting. Madam Chairman.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, if there's nothing else to come before this body, our November 4th, 2021 Planning and Zoning and Board of Commissioners meeting is adjourned. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.